It was 2009 when I first started playing football.
To the head of Messi!
And I was still kind of trying to figure out how to hit the ball with my foot and not my toe. And so naturally, me being new to the sport, I was influenced heavily with people who were actually good at the sport, people who were around me, my seniors. And all of them were Cristiano Ronaldo fans. I mean, this is 2009. Okay, most people in India followed Premier League. So naturally, I started off as a CR7 fan, and I went on to watch a lot of his videos. I was not mature enough to watch entire full-length matches back then, but I used to watch a lot of compilations of skills and stuff. And for some strange reason, I was never really able to relate with Cristiano. But whatever it was, I was never able to connect with Cristiano that much, even though he was a footballer who inspired me the most when I was starting out. Sometime during this phase, a close friend of mine actually showed me a video of Lionel Messi.
Lionel Messi. And Messi steps up to the plate. Barcelona needing it.
Despite his height, he was running riots on a football pitch. No one was coming close to the guy. There was something fascinating. Something just felt godly to me. I mean, before this, I had watched Cristiano dribble past players and stuff. He used to do his fancy skills and beat defenders, leave them on floor. I had seen that. And yet something was oddly fascinating about this guy, the short guy with number 10 on his back. He was doing things that seemed easy. I mean, I swear when I saw that video for the first time, it felt like even I can do this. For some reason, in that very moment, I was able to relate and connect with this player, this short guy with long hair. And from that day onwards, I fell in love with him. And this just went on to grow over the years. I sort of became obsessed with Lionel Messi. And yeah, just watching Messi's videos, just watching the way the guy used to play used to give me immense joy. Messi for me was this godlike player who had this immense ability to take on an entire team by himself. I mean, the guy had scored 92 fucking goals in a calendar year. 92 goals in 2012. Insane. Like that was insane. Now fast forward to 2014. There was a lot of hype about Messi. By this point, Messi had become pretty popular in India as well. So there was this immense hype about Messi and Argentina in particular, mainly because of the media.
Which direction was the unfortunate individual who took?
Gonna get there free by Henry.
The narrative at that point in media was that Leo Messi is the best player in the world, arguably the greatest ever. And now it is his moment. He has to win the 2014 World Cup in order to seal his title of the GOAT, or the greatest of all time.
And Argentina, and Argentina's main man.
With Messi, he'll go for goal here.
The guy the world wanted!
Messi strikes.
And he was in the finals. Like, the best player in the world at that point was in the finals of FIFA World Cup 2014 in Brazil. And naturally, a lot of people were hoping for him to win it, for him to seal it. Everyone thought that this was going to be his moment. But the thing is, he lost. In fact, there was this moment in the match that I distinctly remember. He was one-on-one against Manuel Neuer, and somehow he didn't score. The ball was inches away from the goalpost. Messi was inches away from glory. Messi lost that final in the most dramatic fashion possible, in extra time, of course. I mean, just try to put yourself in the guy's shoes. You're being compared to a literal god in your country, Diego Armando Maradona. You are possibly the greatest player ever according to a lot of people. And you're expected to win a World Cup. And you get there. You put on a brilliant display in the group stages of 2018 World Cup. You somehow get through the knockout stages. Your goalkeeper comes alive in the semi-finals. You're now in the finals. And within 90 minutes, all of that comes crashing down. All of that, from being inches away from winning a World Cup, you're now a player who has not won an international trophy. I remember Messi collecting his Player of the Tournament trophy from that World Cup and walking down the stairs like a heartbroken child. But all of this is, in fact, in the retrospect. Back then, as an immature 14-year-old, I failed to understand the magnitude of that situation, what it meant to him, and how important that World Cup, that match in Brazil was, how close he was to glory. I just failed to understand that at that point. Because for me, it was like, hey, you know what? Messi is the best player in the world. You know, Messi is so great. The Argentina side is pretty strong. Surely in the 2018, they'll win it. I was wrong, clearly. Because the 2018 World Cup was a disaster. And it was a disaster mainly because of one reason. The pressure. And it's not just the pressure of winning a World Cup. It was a pressure that kept on piling up on his head after 2014.
How many goals has he scored in the knockout stage?
There's a lot of goals which he does, but I think it's the games when he didn't perform that stand out for me. The games when he...
You know what actually happened after the 2014 World Cup? A weird transition period began, not just for Messi as a player, but for Messi fans as well, for the media as well. Because media, which largely had the opinion that Messi is the best player in the world, was now suddenly shifting towards Cristiano. Which is obvious because Cristiano Ronaldo was really pushing the pedal at this point.
Kings of Europe are Portugal.
He was scoring goals for fun. He was approaching his peak. I think he was like, sure, you cannot compare Messi and Ronaldo. That's what I firmly believe. Even in 2014, they were two very different players. But media doesn't see that. People don't see that. What people want is a metric. And the metric was goals. And Cristiano was really good at that. He was becoming an out-and-out goal scorer. He was no longer a winger. Messi, on the other hand, was going through a very weird transition. He was sort of becoming a playmaker. Messi, of course, won the 2015 Golden Ball or Ballon d'Or. But he also lost a Copa America final in 2015. Fast forward a year later, December of 2016, Cristiano Ronaldo wins a Ballon d'Or. But 6 months before that Ballon d'Or ceremony, he won something else as well. An international trophy, the Euros. But what is more dramatic into this entire picture is 1 month before that Euro final, Messi loses a penalty in the final and Argentina lose against Chile. This was the third final in a row that Messi and Argentina had lost. How unlucky, how bad can things get for you? And so there was this entire fiasco where Messi retired from international football and then he got back, and I don't want to go into that, but yeah, like this 2016 was such a contrasting year. This was such a polarizing year in the Messi-Ronaldo rivalry. Messi was arguably at his lowest point, and Ronaldo, on the other hand, he not only just won the Euros, he went on to also win the Champions League. But moving on, what followed this 2016 catastrophe for Messi was a series of arguments that started to pop out very often in the media. Arguments like, he's not a big game player, he cannot win it with the national team. He needs a world-class squad to perform at the highest level. And this continued for a fair amount of time, because came the big disaster, the 2018 World Cup. Now I remember this particular World Cup very, very vividly, because this was the first time I was watching this World Cup with my dad, who, by the way, was also rooting for Argentina and Messi. So this World Cup in particular has a very emotional value in my heart. The 2018 World Cup was a proper disaster. Mainly because the expectations for Messi were very high. Messi, I think, was 31 at this point, and when you cross the 30s, naturally it's assumed that you're on your decline. And sure, Messi was no longer that fast player that he was. Messi could no longer take on an entire defense by himself. Messi was a very different player now, and the expectations were high this time around because everyone expected a lot from, not just from Messi because it was his last chance, but also from the coach Jorge Sampaoli, and it backfired. I remember remember I was annoyed after his performance in the opening game of the World Cup, even in the second game against Croatia. The World Cup itself, like as a team as well. And after watching this 2018 World Cup, it suddenly hit me how important that World Cup in Brazil was, how close Messi was from all the glory. And now, naturally everyone thought that this is it. Messi is never going to win a World Cup. Because 2018 Messi was 31, in 2022 Messi is going to be 35, and it's going to be increasingly difficult for Messi to win a World Cup. So the expectation amongst Messi fans shifted from winning a World Cup to winning at least an international trophy. And so I think in 2019 Copa America, even that went wrong. Messi lost another international tournament. But you know what? Quite like from 2014 to 2018, how things have changed for Messi, for media, for Cristiano, for the entire Argentina national team. A lot has similarly changed this time around as well.
Messi again around Di Lorenzo on a plate.
Now that he's won Copa America, now that Argentina's gone past that and he's gotten past that, all of a sudden the guy's smiling with the national team. The pressure seems to be off his shoulder.
11th of July 2021 was the first time I cried in front of the television screen. I mean, before the match, I honestly did not expect Argentina to win it, because on paper, the Brazil squad was better. Any day, Brazil is better than Argentina. At least it has been in the recent years. And so naturally, I was expecting Brazil to lift that trophy. But Argentina and Messi actually won it. I mean, they won it on Brazilian soil. I mean, how much more dramatic can this story get? I remember after the final whistle, Messi went down and all of Argentina's players rushed towards Messi. I mean, there was a surge of strong emotions coming at my way, and I just couldn't contain it. Like I can't honestly describe that moment, like how strong that moment was, but come to think of it, it's just fascinating how one player, how one person who I haven't even met, the person doesn't even know I exist over here, can have so much impact on my life, can make me go through so many emotions in just a span of 90 minutes. It's insane. It's madness, absolutely. And that is not just the beauty of football, but any sport in general. And I think that's what makes football stories so special. Like Messi's story in particular has this, I don't know, it has this fairy tale feel to it. And for the sake of the same fairy tale, Messi has to win this World Cup.
The little boy from Rosario, Argentina, on behalf of every little boy wearing his shirt. Messi on a million backs. Messi for a million flashbulbs. Messi potentially to crown his stellar career. Lionel Messi, no. It's not right.
Well, the fans are worshipping him, and you can understand why. He is a god of the game. The god of the game. And suddenly...